Asterisk power is intoxicating, and Ethan understood exactly how to wield it. His badge represented not only authority but also control. However, today, he was not merely enforcing the law. He was feeding a deeper, unspoken need. Then he spotted her, confident and untouchable, an enticing challenge. The law wasn't solely about justice. It revolved around power. Ethan reveled in the quiet dominance he held over others, relishing the flicker of fear reflected in their eyes and the nervous stammer of their voices when he questioned them. He didn't see himself as a bad cop, merely one who commanded respect, even if it meant testing boundaries. Some of his colleagues had noticed patterns. How specific individuals seemed to be stopped more frequently, or how his authority sometimes veered into something sharper, more unforgiving. Yet, no one dared to speak up. Ethan was cautious, just cautious enough to skirt trouble. That morning, sitting in his car on a quiet street, coffee in hand, boredom weighed down on him. The sluggish gray city felt lifeless, calling for something, or someone, to disrupt the monotony. Then he caught sight of her, a black woman in her mid-30s, exuding effortless confidence in a tailored blazer and crisp slacks, her heels clicking with intention. With her shoulders back and chin lifted, she owned every space she entered. It irritated him. She seemed too self-assured, too untouchable. He had encountered her type before, individuals who faced authority without flinching, who didn't scramble to appease him. His fingers gripped the wheel tightly. While she wasn't violating any laws, something within him itched to act. Without a second thought or a call-in, he switched on the sirens and pulled up next to her. Ma'am. Stop right there, he commanded. She halted, her face unreadable, her dark eyes steady. Is there a problem, officer? Her voice remained calm, too calm, with no fear or hesitation. Ethan's jaw tightened. Most people stuttered or offered excuses, but not her. Show me your ID, he insisted. One eyebrow arched, yet she complied slowly and deliberately. She retrieved her wallet, presenting her license without haste. Ethan barely glanced at it before thrusting it back at her. Never heard of you, he muttered, then coldly added, This is a restricted area. Turn around, hands behind your back. She tilted her head slightly, considering him, and without protest, she turned, placing her hands behind her back. No resistance, no pleading. It caught him off guard. He cuffed her tightly, though she remained unfazed, without a struggle or complaint as he led her to the patrol car. Finally, she spoke again, her voice smooth and unwavering. You're making a mistake. A breath Ethan didn't realize he had been holding escaped him. He thought he had the upper hand, thought he was imparting a lesson. But the moment Monica Ellis stepped into that courtroom, calm and unshaken, his world began to fracture. This wasn't just any woman. She was a federal agent, and now, the hunter was about to become the hunted. With a dry laugh. She murmured, You people always say that, then let out a sigh. We'll see. Ethan shoved her into the back seat, slamming the door harder than necessary. Oddly bruised, his ego could not pinpoint why. Perhaps it was because she remained so composed, so in control, as if she'd anticipated this. It unsettled him. Most people would be shouting by now, demanding answers or pleading for release, but she just sat there, hands resting in her lap, eyes forward, her posture disturbingly composed, as though she had faced this situation before. A strange knot twisted in Ethan's gut. Instead of taking her to the precinct, too much paperwork, too many questions, he drove directly to the courthouse. He wanted a judge to handle this swiftly. People like her needed to be reminded of their place, to learn that they weren't above the law. When he yanked the door open and pulled her out, he expected some kind of resistance. Instead, she stepped out fluidly, as if she had planned for this moment all along. You think this is funny? He barked. She met his glare, unwavering. No, officer, she replied evenly. I think this is interesting. His teeth clenched. Let's see if you still find it interesting in front of a judge. Inside the courthouse, the atmosphere was cold and sterile. heavy with quiet authority. Judge Reynolds, infamous for his strict rulings, sat at the bench, flipping through paperwork. Ethan felt a flicker of smug satisfaction. This would be over in minutes. Your Honor, this woman was found in a restricted area and refused to comply with police orders, he declared, confidence lacing his words. The judge barely looked up. Name? He asked, flipping through files. The woman stepped forward, smooth as silk, brushing an invisible wrinkle from her blazer. Monica Ellis. Ethan scoffed quietly. Probably. But just then, the judge actually looked up, genuinely assessing both her and Ethan, his brow furrowing. Miss Ellis. He said slowly, you wouldn't happen to be Special Agent Ellis with the FBI, would you? Ethan's stomach dropped. Monica offered a small, unreadable smile. Yes, Your Honor. Senior Investigator, U.S. Attorney's Office. A stunned silence rippled through the courtroom. Judge Reynolds leaned back in his chair, fixing his gaze on Ethan. Officer Brooks, did you check her credentials before apprehending her? Ethan's throat grew dry. She was in a restricted area. He started, but that wasn't a question. Heat crept up his neck as he hesitated and muttered. No, the judge exhaled heavily. You just unlawfully detained a federal agent. Before Ethan could recover, the courtroom doors swung open. A tall woman in a sharp navy suit strode in, and the entire room seemed to shift around her presence. The name, U.S. Attorney Carmen Alvarez, floated through the air. Ethan's pulse raced. Alvarez wasted no time. Your Honor, I've received word that one of my senior investigators was detained without cause by this officer, she said, pointing at Ethan, her expression sharp as a blade. Judge Reynolds nodded. That's correct. Alvarez's gaze bore into Ethan, cold and unyielding. We will be filing civil rights charges. Furthermore, we will review his entire record for similar incidents. Ethan's blood ran cold. Control had always been his weapon, his shield, but now, stripped of his badge, authority, and very identity, he felt exposed. The hunter had become the hunted. As Monica Ellis met his gaze one last time, her words held no gloating. They bore the weight of reckoning. The term incidents landed like a sharp blow, final and damning. Ethan's pulse raced as he attempted to rebut. This is a misunderstanding, he stammered. Monica Ellis interrupted, her voice quiet yet unwavering. A misunderstanding? She let the words linger in the air, her gaze steady. You saw a black woman near a federal building and assumed she didn't belong. That wasn't a mistake. That was a choice. Silence enveloped the courtroom until the judge's voice pierced through it like a blade. Officer Brooks, you are suspended, effective immediately. Surrender your badge and weapon before leaving this courtroom. The gavel's crack echoed like a gunshot. Ethan froze, his world crumbling in real time. His career, his reputation, everything. His fingers felt numb as he unpinned his badge, placing it down beside his weapon. Once symbols of power, they now felt meaningless. Lifting his gaze, he found Monica Ellis watching him, devoid of triumph or satisfaction, only certainty. She stepped forward. Unshaken assumptions, she said, can be dangerous. Then, without another word, she walked away, possessing the same unwavering confidence he had first witnessed. For the first time in his career, Ethan Brooks stood devoid of control. In summary, Ethan believed he was in control, thought he could bend the rules and push boundaries without consequence. However, as the repercussions of his actions unfurled in the courtroom, it became painfully clear that this time, he had chosen the wrong target.